transfer news, conspiracy theories, updates about injuries. We've got it all in today's video, man. But we're going to start with the striker situation. Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. And like I say, we've got a bit of stuff to get through today. We are coming off of the back of a 1-0 win. Yay! We won a game of football! Oh, mate, it was such a relief, man. I feel more relieved than jovial about it, to be honest. But it was a reasonably enjoyable game to watch. It was good to see Mourinho back at the bridge. Really good to see Garnacho starting to hit his potential stride, forcing an own goal. Not exactly what we wanted to see. You know, obviously I want to see his numbers start going up, but at the same time, it was something, right? It was something. But guys, before we get into today's news, if you are enjoying the content and would like to see more, please do me the distinct honour of liking and sharing the video, subscribe to the channel, or just roast me in the comments, whatever gets you through your day. Right, so the conspiracy theory. Woo! Tyreek George is constantly being chosen to play up front at the moment. And yes, we have a dearth in strikers, right? We are struggling with the striker situation. Obviously, Liam Delap got injured. We didn't buy anyone else to replace him. Mueka's in the academy. He's doing really well over there. Can't really put that much pressure on him. So we brought Mar Guiu back from loan, from his Sunderland loan, in order to be able to have another striker, so we don't have to play João Pedro every game. But consistently, whether it be starting games or being brought on as a sub, Tyreek George keeps on getting the start there. So that happened in yesterday's game. Tyreek George got the start against Benfica in the Champions League. And I literally I'll quote myself, in my preview video, I was like, can we start Tyreek George in a Champions League game against Benfica, who are now led by Jose Mourinho? No. But lo and behold, that is exactly what happened. I did a joint watch along yesterday with Behind the Dugouts. We watched the game and we streamed it on his channel. It was a great time. I moaned quite a lot about Tyreek George. Honestly, I audibly groaned when I saw the lineup, and I liked the majority of the look of the lineup, man, but then I got to Tyreek George and I was like, ah. And I was kind of right, man. I was kind of right. Now, this is based on what I want to see from a striker. Yeah, when Tyreek George plays striker, I don't see the thing I want to see, and what that is a footballer on the pitch. Because for the most part, when Tyreek George is playing for a striker as a striker, for us, I don't see him getting involved and doing anything. I tried to use my analytical muscles yesterday to really kind of figure out what it is he's doing, and it looks like, I assume this is the manager's instruction, he sticks to the centre back. So what I'm saying is, and what I'm thinking is, I think Tyreek George's role as a striker is more off the ball stuff. It is create space, be a nuisance, get in the way of the centre backs, try and create more opportunities for the attacking players around you, like your Garnachos, your Estevals, your Buenanotes, your Pedro Netos, all of them lot. Which just seems like a bit weird to me, man. You got the goal in the Lincoln game, but that kind of was against the run of it, wasn't it? It wasn't like he made an excellent striker move or whatever. It was a great goal, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like he played a really strikery kind of thing. It definitely felt more like a moment of magic and quality rather than something that a striker did because the team played towards him. So, yeah, it's tough. It's a bit frustrating watching Tyreek George play striker for us, man, because it just feels like we're a man down when we've got the ball. When we don't have the ball, I guess that's when it's a lot more useful. But the big question for me, and maybe many other Chelsea fans as well, I've talked about this with Lewis from FFB, which is another great Chelsea channel you should go and check out. But, you know, we both want to see Mar Guiu playing some of these games, man. Why didn't Mar Guiu get the start at Lincoln? Why is Tyreek George, if we can't play João Pedro against Benfica, why is Tyreek George getting the start over Mar Guiu? Mar Guiu played for us last season. He played for Maresca last season. It's not like he's a complete unknown. He played for Maresca and got goals. He was the third top scorer in the Conference League and looked like he had something about him, man. And at the end of the day, looks like when Tyreek George is playing, what I see is what we're missing from having someone like a Mar Guiu there, who does all of those same off-the-ball things. He's a pressing monster, loads of energy, really getting at people, but he's also an attacking outlet that you can not rely on. He's not amazing, but enough. He's an option. It's another attacking outlet there. Do you know what I mean? So let's get into the conspiracy theory of it all. So, rule is coming to light. It's not coming to light. We've known about this rule for a while, but it's been at the back of our minds and forgot about it. Players aren't allowed to play for more than 2 clubs in a season. Now, Mar Guiu went on loan to Sunderland. We recalled him because of our striker issue when Liam Delap got injured, and we didn't want to go out and splash loads of money on another striker. You know, Conrad Harder was spoken about a little bit, but I do kind of understand that. I would have understood it if he was playing. So, he hasn't played a minute for us yet, do you know what I mean? And he's featured on the bench, so there has been potential and opportunities for him to play, I guess. But with him not playing at all, it was starting to be like, does Maresca just not trust him? Has something changed from last season? But no, the chances are he's maybe not playing, conspiracy theory, by the way, maybe not playing at all, because if he were to set foot on the pitch for Chelsea in a professional match right now, he would not be allowed to play for another club this season, and that means we wouldn't be able to loan him out in January. So if the next part of the conspiracy theory wasn't a thing, I wouldn't really get that. I'd be like, well, who are you looking to bring in January? Liam Delap's been injured, and look how difficult it has been. Even if Liam Delap comes back, having Guiu as a third choice striker would be a good thing. When Guiu went to Sunderland, he was going to be Sunderland's third choice striker. Even Sunderland have got 3 strikers. Do you know what I mean? And we want to, try and win stuff and get far in the Premier League and the Champions League or whatever. So surely more depth in that position is only a good thing. So if it was just about loaning him out and we were going to just be left with Liam Delap and João Pedro, I'd be a bit like, still doesn't make a huge amount of sense to me. But there is more potentially to the story than we initially thought. Chelsea have confirmed earlier, a couple of weeks ago, maybe something like that, that we are going to sign Emmanuel Omega from Strasbourg at the end of the season. That deal is done. I don't know how much it's going to be yet because the paperwork hasn't been signed and the money hasn't been exchanged, but he's going to sign a 6-year deal with us, is what we've seen. So we've already seen he's going to come in on a long-term deal, and that is going to happen. And obviously, because Strasbourg are owned by Blueco and it's all under the same thing, we can do deals differently. Do you know what I mean? We don't need to talk about the money until the point that we actually buy him. So the conspiracy theory that is being held at the moment is that we are going to send Mar Guiu to Strasbourg and in exchange potentially bring Emmanuel Omega to Chelsea in January. Very interesting. Now, as a Chelsea fan, I'm like, yes, I love it. Brilliant. Let's do that, because having 3 strikers is a good idea. We, in the height and pomp of the Roman Abramovich era, we often had 3 strikers. Depth is a really, really important thing when you're trying to go out, and having quality in your depth as well would be amazing. A striking trio of Pedro, Delap and Omega for our second half of the season, where there's more games in a shorter space of time, we're getting deeper into competition, so the games are going to start getting harder as well. Yeah, brilliant. Totally up for that. It'll likely be a case of Liam Delap and Emmanuel Omega battling for that backup striker role as well, wouldn't it? If João Pedro refines his form and continues, but if he continues as is at the moment, maybe there's an option still to be the first striker as well if you start scoring the most goals. So as a Chelsea fan, I'm like, yes, cool. Let's 100% have a go at that. I'm into the idea. Now, as a fan of football in general and football culture, and it feels a bit savage on Strasbourg, doesn't it? It feels a bit savage, but the truth is, it's maybe a bit complicated, but Omega has already received somewhat of amount of disdain from the Strasbourg fans for agreeing this deal with Chelsea. Now, Strasbourg fans, the Ultras specifically, are not happy with this concept of being like a Chelsea feeder team. Do you know what I mean? And having all of their players coming from Chelsea. And, Omega's doing pretty well over there at the moment. He's played 4 games. He scored 2 goals and got 2 assists. Very, very interesting for Maresca that he's obviously got good creative output as well. But the Strasbourg fans already turned on him a little bit. There was banners unveiled at the games after he kind of signed the deal and stuff. And do you know what I mean? It's a little bit touchy over there. So I understand it would be a bit rough to be like, here's Mar Guiu, we'll have your really good striker who had a decent season last season. So it's, like I say, it's not as simple as that. But the other side of that is, if it wasn't Strasbourg and it was Olympique Lyon or Lille or Monaco or something, and we were like, okay, here's Mar Guiu, we'll take Emmanuel Omega, I'd be like, wicked, what a great deal. Do you know what I mean? If they weren't in the Blueco family and connected to Chelsea, I probably wouldn't feel as bad about it. I wouldn't be like, oh, you can't do that to them. Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, no, yeah, wicked, do it. So I guess I'm a little bit tinted by the fact that Strasbourg are part of the Chelsea family, and I do, have some small amount of investment because they're connected to Chelsea. Also, I lived in France for 4 years, so it's nice to have a French team that I can back with a bit more reasoning behind it. Do you know what I mean? I do like Strasbourg for that reason as well, because I have my own connections to French culture and the country. So, yeah, Omega, I think he looks great, man. I think he looks great. He's a bit more in the mould of Nicholas Jackson. Really big lad, like really, really, really big lad, which is cool as well. And I think Maresca will like him because, as we're seeing already, 2 assists in 4 games alongside those 2 goals shows you that he's got some creative output and he can bring other people into play, which is really, really good. So for us, like I say, going into that second half of the season when, if we get further in the cups, the games will start getting harder. If we get further in the Champions League, the games will start getting harder. If, obviously towards the end of the Premier League, people are going to be tired. We're going to need to rotate more. If we've got a striker that is not even necessarily a backup option, but someone who's going to push João Pedro and Liam Delap for that starting spot, that's all gravy, baby. Like, I'm totally into it. As a Chelsea fan, I think it's a really cool idea. Do feel a bit bad if we rip him out of Strasbourg, but at the same time, I think Mar Guiu would do well over there. And I remember thinking that might be a thing that happens anyway, Mar Guiu going over to Strasbourg, and you would imagine it'd be a sale because we only bought Mar Guiu for 5 mil, and this is his second season you can amortise over whatever. So he might only cost that again for them to buy him. So it'd be really, really cheap, and they'd make money on Omega, which means they could bolster the squad in other areas. So there are positives to be looked at, and they are doing really well with a lot of the Chelsea players that they've got over there. Mamadou Sarr in particular having a really, really good season, and Mike Penders, of course, not doing badly at all. So tell me what you think about it in the comments, guys. I'd love to know what you think. So the Tyreek George thing. Do you rate him as a striker? Do you think we should keep him? Do you think that he should be getting game time over Mar Guiu regardless of all of this? And do you think that's the right thing to do? Mar Guiu not getting game time. Do you think that the conspiracy theory may well be true? Not necessarily about the Omega thing, but just about us saving to get rid of him in January anyway. And that's why he's not playing. The Emmanuel Omega and Mar Guiu swap. Do you rate that? Do you think that's a good move for us and a good move for Strasbourg? Do you care about Strasbourg? Do you not care about Strasbourg? There's so many questions, and I'd really like to know what you all think about it in the comments. So let's have a chat about it, man. So moving on from the striker situation, there is a small story involving Nico Paz, who is currently plying his trade as a centre attacking midfielder in Cesc Fabregas' Como. Now, just a minute to wax lyrical about Cesc Fabregas, because, man, one of my favourite Chelsea players ever. Absolutely love him. Think he was brilliant. I know maybe that's controversial because he was an Arsenal boy for such a long time from such a young age. But the fact that we had all of that rival history and he just came into our team and won a league title with us, do you know what I mean? And we got him for like 20 mil, man. We got him from an absolute steal. And he was just one of my favourite kind of players. He wasn't athletic and he wasn't energetic. He didn't need to run around all the time. He could ping a pass, and his vision and his, the assists. He was so good, man. He was so good. He's doing really well as a manager as well, so I love that. I would love to see Cesc Fabregas in the dugout at Chelsea one day if Enzo Maresca doesn't work out. And obviously on the Blue Lounge, we had a little look the other day at what Fabregas has to say about the Chelsea situation at the moment with the red cards and how Maresca's dealing with it. Seems very eloquent, intelligent, seems like he's a good manager, and he's done well with Como, man. He's done really well with Como. So, in the future, who knows? Maybe we get him back. But anyway, enough about Fabregas. Let's talk about Nico Paz. Young central attacking midfielder plying his trade at Como at the moment. 12 goals in 41 appearances. Few assists. I think it's like 6-7 assists as well. So for a really young player, he's got reasonably good numbers, and that is starting to heat up. Do you know what I mean? So there is interest being held in him at the moment. We need another centre attacker, don't we? That's just absolutely true. Esteval Williams probably going to get a lot of game time on the wings in general this season, you would have thought. He looks like a really good creative and direct attacking right winger when he plays. He's still got to, get up to speed with like the physicality of the Premier League and stuff. But ultimately, he looks good there. Where, centre attack, Cole Palmer, man. Cole Palmer is obviously the guy. Don't get me wrong. I know that Cole Palmer is the guy, but what we don't have at the moment is a solid backup that we own. Truth be told, I quite like the look of Buonanotte. I think he's, warming into the games. He's playing his role really well. He seems to play well together. Good passer, drops deep, gets forward. Do you know what I mean? He's definitely got something about him, and I do like watching him play with the team, but he's no Cole Palmer, and we don't own him. We've got a first dibs situation with Buonanotte. If we like him enough at the end of the season to buy him, then we can buy him. But you know what Brighton are like? It'll be 80 mil if he scores 5 goals this season, won't it? a lot of fans won't be happy about us going and spending a huge amount of money on another player from Brighton, one way or the other, even if he plays well for us. So Nico Paz is an interesting option. Como, obviously, quite recently promoted into Serie A, so they are, kind of still newcomers into the top flight of football in that respect. So Nico Paz might, not be super, super expensive, and obviously maybe Chelsea have got a good relationship with Cesc Fabregas and can create a good relationship with Como. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. I do think it's a good idea to start looking for another centre attacking midfielder. Obviously, I was really into the Xavi Simons idea. I thought he looked absolutely great, and we really could have done with him at the moment. He would have played every single one of these games that Cole Palmer has not been available for. 100%. And it really could have been game-changing having someone of that quality as well as Cole Palmer. But evidently, looking at Facundo Buonanotte and the fact we're looking at Nico Paz, we're not looking to get someone to rival Cole Palmer, but we are looking for an able deputy. And when you own them, this is the issue with Buonanotte, you're never going to invest in Buonanotte that much because you don't own him, and you know that Brighton are going to try and fleece you at the end of the season for him. So you want someone that you own and that you can develop, and do you know what I mean? It kind of makes sense. Obviously, at the end of the season, there's also the likes of Kendry Paez to come back as well, so maybe that's an option. He's scored 1 goal out for Strasbourg at the moment, played about 3 games, think he started 1 or 2 of them, but he's not exactly like kicking off, do you know what I mean? So, be interesting to see Nico Paz, centre attacking midfielder. Have you heard of him? Have you not heard of him? Do you know more than I do about him? Tell me in the comments. And I'm going to start wrapping up today's video with just one small piece of news. It's a bit negative, but it's not a massive game changer. So, in the press conference for the Benfica game, Maresca quite candidly told us that Moises Caicedo, João Pedro, and Andre Santos were all carrying an injury. Now, Moises Caicedo and João Pedro both played minutes in the game, with João Pedro obviously posthumously being sent off right at the end for a questionable thing, so I'll be interested to see if we try and appeal that or not. But either way, Andre Santos has an injury and is going to be out for a while. This is a reasonably fortuitous timing because Romeo Lavia has just made his way back into the squad. He played against Brighton for 20 minutes towards the end of the game when Badiashile came on the other day, and he was on the bench for the Benfica game. So although he didn't end up getting called on, he was available and ready to play. I expect to see him in the Liverpool game. I think we'll see him in the Liverpool game. But we've got Romeo Lavia potentially back. Going to have to be careful with him, 100%. A la Reece James and Wesley Fofana, do you know what I mean? We've got to be careful throwing these guys just straight back into the mix. But at the same time, we do have that one depth option still. Do you know what I mean? If we were without Santos and Lavia, it'd be a bit more like, oh dear, we've got no midfielders, because obviously Dario Isugo is going to be out for a while as well. But we do. We've got Romeo Lavia for the next couple of games until, hopefully Andre Santos is back after the international break. We'll have to see what happens. So that's it, guys. And like I said, I'd love to know what you think about all of this stuff. Really interesting today. The Mar Guiu Omega swap. Do you back it? Do you buy it? Do you think it's just conspiracy nonsense? And do you think we should back Tyreek George for the striker role, that he can grow into it? Or does he get sold in January? Tell me what you think. Nico Paz, another young attacking midfielder, plying his trade under Cesc Fabregas at Como at the moment. Tell me what you think about him as well. Is it, do we need to start going in for people of a higher level, or do you think that we should buy someone to support Cole Palmer instead of compete with him? And Andre Santos being out, I mean, there's not much to think about that, so you don't have to tell me about that one, but 100% comment on the other two. And guys, like I said, if you've gotten to this point in the video and you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. I'm on the road to 1,000 subs and I need you. So that's it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you very much for sticking around. I hope you will have an absolutely wicked day, and I'll catch up with you very, very soon. Take it easy. Peace.